off with saying that I'm Mandy with COVID Recovery Iowa. I'm the Child and Family Team Lead. And today I have with me Taylor from AMP, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about the AMP services and teens being impacted by the pandemic, and what parents need to know is kind of what we're going to talk about today. And just to remind everyone that COVID Recovery Iowa is a temporary program. We're here because the pandemic and the derecho were declared disasters. And so we're here to provide that additional emotional support and connecting people to resources like AMP, because in the event of a disaster, usually those emotional needs are greater. And so I want to introduce you to Taylor so she can tell you about AMP and the services they have to offer. So have at it, Taylor. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I am Taylor. I am the statewide AMP coordinator. I've been doing AMP since 2018. AMP, I will start off with, stands for Achieving Maximum Potential. We are here to assist in youth finding that potential and reaching it. Any youth 13 to 23 who is involved with the foster care system. That does not mean just like foster care, I will say that. Adjudication, treatment, foster home, adoptive home, kinship home, so I'm living with uncle or aunt, any of that will qualify. So any out-of-home placement with DHS is an easier way to say it, maybe.
Yeah.
We do monthly meetings. We do statewide events. We are a statewide program. We do youth advocacy. I will say that's our biggest thing. We don't do, so it's not me advocating for the youth necessarily, it's the youth advocating for the youth. I'm just here to kind of provide a platform. So we do a lot with life skills, go different places. We try to do a mix between education and fun, always full of resources. That's a big thing that on the parents' end, maybe. We're always full of resources.
Did you mention this one? What if somebody's adopted?
Yep, they qualify.
Okay. I'm thinking about your teen advocacy group, and I'd like to hear more about what they do, but it seems to me they would be a good support network for each other, on top of being advocates.
So as I said, the ages 13 to 23, it's kind of a big gap, and some people are like, whoa, 13, 23-year-old, what's going on? It really is more of a family, and any of the kids that are involved with it, they kind of call it the AMP fam. The 13-year-olds are kind of the kiddos in the fam. The 23-year-olds are kind of like our built-in mentors. So another thing the kids will tell you is that the kids in the AMP fam, or in AMP, however you want to say it, are each other's connection. They're alike. So if you're not in the foster system and somehow, we don't mean to discourage, like you're not allowed, but they're not allowed for the reasoning because we want all the kids that are coming to feel welcome. And a lot of the kids will say, this is one place I can come where I don't have to try and fit in. Like my lifestyle isn't different from somewhere else. I'm just me, and that's okay, and I'm accepted. So that's a really strong connection point for the kiddos. They're okay with coming to each other for questions, or like, this is what happened, or they don't have to explain it. It's just life, and they just go on. So they're kind of best friends, built-in family. Some of my kids will say, this is the family I got to choose, not the family I was forced into. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of cool. They definitely have a strong bond.
So right now, with the pandemic, I'm guessing you're doing some Zoom stuff. So we can talk about that, but I'm interested in what the future holds, or how do all these kids connect?
Yeah, so like I said, we are statewide. So there is councils. We have 12 councils across Iowa. We also do statewide events. You can go to our website and find all of our locations. When you do that, there is a facilitator's name, phone number, email. So you can just contact that facilitator and be like, hey, I am so-and-so, I want to get involved. Or you can simply contact me and I'll kind of get you in the right direction. That's totally okay as well. We are doing...
They have local, you have local events at those different 12 kind of locations or whatever connection points, but then you have statewide events too. Is that
Yes.
all right?
Yep. There's monthly meetings at your local places. And then statewide, we have mini conferences and mini camps. Um, Due to COVID, that's a little bit different. We did do one mini conference, and it was a week long, or it was a month long, every Monday in February. We had guest speakers come in. It went really well. So that was a little different. Just we've never done a conference or a camp Zoom based, but it worked and we made the best of it. We hope to begin this summer going back in person with different sorts of camps and conferences. Our camps are more fun based, our conferences are more educational. We try to kind of make it a little bit of mix. A conference example would be go to colleges. We get to tour the colleges, the kids get to put their feet on the ground and realize that college really isn't that scary as it maybe seems. So just putting their fingers onto real life things that maybe they wouldn't get the opportunity to.
So where would be you're talking about a camp. So where might that be located, in the past or this summer?
In the past, we've done things such as we'll go to an iCubs game or we'll go to the zoo. Sometimes we have in the past done week-long camps, and those have been at like a campground in Bloomfield. We've also had them other places. That's just where they've been the last few years. And for those, it's a kind of a mixture of fun and education. We have like a panelists of like lawyers, social workers, DHS workers, all those genre of professionals. We have activities like for the last camp, we were going to do, what was it, like a scavenger hunt they use compasses and they have to do a scavenger hunt across campus. And so we had someone coming in to teach that. So different things like that. But we try and do them all across Iowa just so maybe if you're in this corner of Iowa and you can't hit this corner, there will be something up in your direction later on. So we try and make it not like you have to travel a whole state to get to an event every time.
Yeah. Although, you know what, maybe we'd all be really happy to travel right now, right?
I would be okay with it at this point.
Be okay with it. So in Bloomfield, where's Bloomfield?
It is way down south by Ottumwa.
Okay.
Yep. It's about 20 minutes south of Ottumwa.
So a mixture of fun and a mixture of education in every opportunity, it sounds like, and the priority would be those connections with the other teens, with friends. Very cool.
Yeah. We also, I know we have like the connections to the kiddos. I kind of like to always touch that we not only have the kiddo connection, we try to be a huge connecting point to community resources and to parents, because sometimes, I had a parent come to me last week and they're like, this is the first kiddo I've had placed with me. Can you tell me about these resources? So we try to be helpful to every, if you're a parent, if you're a youth, if you're a social worker, we do try to work with all the areas just because I think the wider your connection base is and the more connections you create, the better team it makes us. And so we have resources for all categories, I guess.
So what if I'm thinking about if you're in the school system and you're a at-risk liaison, or if you're a guidance counselor and you're like, I think this teen would benefit from some people with like-minded experiences or whatever. How do they go about tracking you down?
Yeah, we have social media. It's called We Are AMP Iowa, but we also have a website, weareampiowa.com. I'm always happy to list my contact information. It's on all of our stuff. If you go to the website, you can see a location and find a nearest location to you. Or if there's maybe not a location near you, go ahead and reach out to me. I will always be more than happy to either connect one-on-one if that's what it takes, or find a way to kind of get them connected some way or another. We're usually all pretty flexible, all the facilitators, in kind of navigating a way. If there's a will, there's a way. So we try and find a way to connect the youth, whatever it may be. Some counselor or some facilitators, they provide transportation. Not all of them. It just kind of depends on the area, what's going on. A lot of our facilitators also have full-time jobs, so life gets crazy. But we do our best to make a connection, even if it's going out of the way. So if you can't find a facilitator near you, just go ahead and contact me, and we'll find a way.
We'll put all your contact info in the comment section then after, including, is it your website that's called We Are AMP? Or
We are in
Facebook?
Iowa. Yep.
We Are AMP Iowa. We'll put that in the comments section too. And if anybody has any questions for Taylor or about AMP, feel free to put those in the comments right now. It looks like my Facebook's frozen, so I'm going to try and refresh it and see what happens. And if anybody has any questions, so feel free to put those in. So what are we missing? So we've got the teen advocacy group, connection to teens. There's 12 facilitators that people can connect with all across Iowa. You have summer camp events, you have conference events. It sounds like, what would they expect? Like, what would a teen expect by connecting to a facilitator? Like, what might that first connection be like?
Yeah. It just kind of depends. If the teen is like, I would like to meet the facilitator first, like, it might be a matter of you can just come a few minutes earlier, you can chit chat before you come. I personally am always welcome to a phone call, FaceTime, text message. Since COVID, I have spent much more time texting and FaceTiming the kiddos, which is totally okay. That's kind of a nice thing. It makes our connections have grown, whatever. But you can touch base firsthand or like beforehand, or you can just kind of show up and just kind of jump right in. Everyone is usually pretty welcoming. It just kind of depends on the area. Like some communities have more community members, some communities have more youth that are in like shelter or treatment attending. So there's a little bit of mixture in population to come. But no matter where you go, there's always going to be many people. You always find a friend. I had a few parents last week reach out to me. I run the Ames Council as well. And a few parents just reached out and said, hey, I see you're having AMP on Thursday. My kiddo's never been, but he wants to meet some new people. Can he join? Absolutely, any day of the week. So sometimes it's just, they're just looking for a friend or looking for people who are kind of walking the same paths. So it's nice to see, it's maybe not a familiar face, but a familiar situation, and it's just kind of life, and you want to make friends. So it's pretty welcoming. There's usually a fun activity. Everyone gets introduced to everyone. We try to make everyone welcome, feel at home. Yeah.
How do you become, well, I have two questions. Well, the first one, how about becoming a facilitator? How does that, who are the facilitators?
Yeah, so all of our facilitators are part-time. We are a nonprofit, so we don't have a huge team, but there are 3 of us that are full-time. Myself and our electronics communication specialist. She's also running a studio, which is a really new thing for AMP. It's really cool. We have a live recording studio where we can go live out of it. We can do pre-recordings. We're trying to do a few trainings. Kiddos across the area have been like, we wish that there was more trainings for staff and parents of teenagers and just how to handle different personalities. So that's something we're working on right now. So there's me, her, and my boss. We're all full-time. The rest of us are part-time facilitators. And what that means is they're 10 to 20 hours, about 10 hours a week usually. And they plan their meetings. We have a curriculum basically that they can go off of, or they can just get creative. They can bring in guest speakers, they can do whatever they want, but they're the main contact for that area. Right now,
Well, and it sounds like you said that different areas sometimes meet different needs. So that seems to make sense for the facilitator to figure out what.
Yeah, every area has different meetings. Like their meetings maybe on Thursday or Wednesday or Tuesday. Like mine are usually on Thursdays. So it just kind of depends.
Now, so here was another question was about just how the pandemic has impacted the teens that you service. My thought is that I really feel like Zoom's been fantastic in filling in the gaps, and how lucky we are to have such technology. I can't imagine what this year would have been like without it. But I also know that how important those physical connections are with teens. And so what's your feeling on how AMP has been impacted your
Yeah.
team?
I think kids in general, the youth, I guess I always say kids, but we have 13 to 23. They're not all kiddos. But the youth in general have been hugely impacted. And I see more and more of it. They'll come and say, things I'm not doing okay. Or I'm not doing well. And it's hard to have that personal connection because everything, we're all taking a huge toll. So I guess me personally, and I would say any other of our facilitators, um, we all are in it for the right reasons. We all have a heart. And so we try to be that transparent about that. And so if I ever had a kiddo, like I had a kiddo last week, 2 weeks ago, hey, do you have time? I said, I always have time for you. So it's just, I spend a lot more time on FaceTime or texting, either one, which is totally okay. Like I'm more than happy to be there. Do a lot of Zooms and even small group Zooms, big group Zooms. We've tried to start doing the first Sunday of every month is the AMP fam call. It's not structured. There's not an agenda. It's just a hop on, connect. Hey, how you doing kind of thing, just to chat with people. It's not in person, but we're trying to make the best of it. Like I said, we now have a studio that kind of has come out of COVID, just to wider spread ourselves. There are areas that we aren't in. So hopefully this will help get us in more areas, and we'll have we are creating a new website. It's up and running, but we are going to put on there a gallery, and we'll have a YouTube channel. So any trainings or any lives we do, anyone can access them if it's a counselor, a liaison, anyone, a foster parent, anyone of the sort. We'll have that. That's kind of come out of COVID. And as much as I'm not a fan of COVID, it is kind of nice because it is allowing us and forcing us to get creative on how do we reach these people. And so we now have a social media, a Facebook and a Instagram. So that has kind of come out of it. I will tell you, I'm not a technology person. So that's why we have a staff for that. And we just are in the process of actually hiring one of our own youth to be on our staff team, if you will. So that's kind of cool. Bring fresh mindset in and actually have a youth mindset on team, and that's helping us as well. So it's just forcing us to get creative, find new avenues. I think we'll remain a little bit of Zoom because it's helped us with being so spread out across Iowa. It helps us connect as a team, whereas we don't all have to, you all have to be in one place on this day, where it kind of gets hard when a lot of our staff have a full-time job. We can just, on this night, we're going to be on Zoom. So that does help. So I think we will keep a few things, but we're all definitely itching to get back to face-to-face and have in-person events and go back to that connection. But I think that, like I say, it's making easier connections statewide. And it's also kind of forcing more personal connections. Kids will reach out, hey, can we chat? Whereas in the past, it was just we saw each other in person and they never really were like, hey, let's chat as much. So,
yeah, I think you have opened some opportunities for some individual interaction maybe that you didn't have before. And I love that that someone feels comfortable saying, hey, I'm not doing okay. Do you have time? Yeah. And that's fantastic. That's what we're here for, right? Anybody in the helping profession. So I think that's great.
One other thing I will say, I just thought of it because I don't know, it just came into my mind. Something we are doing kind of out of COVID, we have COVID funding relief. So anyone in the system, like I say, is eligible. And the applications go through myself and then through my boss. It is called foster funds or kinship funds. Foster funds is any foster youth. Kinship funds is specifically for those in kinship settings, so family-like settings. The foster funds up until September 30th are up to $600 per youth per year. It's typically $300, but with the extra COVID funding, we were able to raise it to $600, and then the kinship funds is $300. There's information on the website. I can send you a link if you want to share that. You just fill out an application. On the application is like a list of things like I had a kiddo or someone emailed me yesterday, hey, my youth wants to purchase a laptop for school. Can we submit an application? Certainly. Cool. Then you just fill out the application. It is a reimbursement system. So it's not like I want to buy a laptop, give me the money, and then I'm going to go buy it. You have to purchase it, put in the application, attach the receipt, and then send it in. So you're more than welcome to reach out and be like, hey, will this qualify? Just in case. There's a lot of that, but it is a reimbursement system, not like a here's the funding now, go buy it.
Good info, good opportunity. And so I think to wrap it up, we should just reiterate who could benefit from AMP. You said adjudicated kids, kids in the foster care system, kids in a residential treatment type facility,
Yeah.
kids who are living with a family, extended family, a kinship placement is how you referred to it as. Am I missing anybody?
No,
Adopted children.
adopted. Basically anyone who has faced out of home placement through DHS.
Got it.
So if we're just living with aunt and uncle, but it's not really a DHS kind of situation, that wouldn't qualify. But if you've been placed, it's gone through DHS, you're more than welcome to join us.
Okay. And who could suggest AMP? I'm a children's counselor. I could suggest AMP.
Yeah.
Guidance counselors could suggest AMP, a friend, a colleague, a teacher, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The farther we're spread, the more people, the more kiddos, more parents, more workers we can kind of build into our little community connections and
Very
just
good.
continue to support each other one way or another. So yeah, spread it wide and far.
Very good. We'll put your email address or whatever information you want to send me. I'll put in the comments section so people know how to connect with you. But thank you for your time. Good information.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.